Now, during the bubble season, if you guys had not remembered, the Clippers are up 3-1 on Denver Nuggets in the playoffs. Then the Nuggets had came back due to Jokic. I remember stating that Jokic was going to give the Western Conference a lot of issues. And going back now to 2023, we're approaching playoff time, and I still believe the Clippers are not yet ready for Jokic. First of all, they have not solved their point guard issues because in that series, they had Kawhi Leonard and Paul George dribbling the ball way too much, trying to create for themselves. So now they got Westbrook, they got rid of Reggie Jackson and John Wall. I don't know if the issues are still yet resolved. And number two, Jokic has gotten even better. And he still poses that threat, especially off the pick and roll, as this guy can either pull up from three or he kind of looks off defenders and just makes the perfect pass. As the Nuggets, they have their system where their guys are making cuts. And this is very difficult to read. And especially after that pick and roll, what Jokic does after he passes the ball, he positions that big body under the hoop. So even if they miss, he's there to tip the ball to himself. He's very good at tipping the ball to himself. And also, if they get a mismatch, Jokic is so big, of course he's going to post you up. But Paul George is going to talk about this in 2023, and I still believe the Clippers are not ready. But you guys check it out, and every once in a while, I'll check in.
The big takeaway for me was just Jokic and how good he is. Another 40-point triple-double last night. He does things on the basketball court that appear to be simple, but they're really not. And I know you guys have played against him in the playoffs in a 7-game series. What do you see with Jokic? What is about him that is so special?
Man, he is just like, it's crazy because he's not by any means the athletic guy on the floor, but he just knows his game. I think he's a player that just knows who he is on that court. And you put a small guy on him, he punishes him. Somebody his size, he uses his smarts and wits. It's a tough matchup, and it's one that we failed to figure out so far. But I was blown away because I have quick hands. And like some of the, passes that they were throwing to him, they were kind of out of his range, but the way that he could tip it and get it back to himself, those are usually steals, on anybody else. If that ball is thrown outside of your area, I'm getting it. And
once again, Paul George is mentioning what I talked about, Jokic and that tipping. It's almost like he's playing taps. I don't know how he does that, but he stays tipping the ball, and he has a quick second jump, which you would not expect from a big guy like that.
And he can just quick tip it and get it right back and go right up with it. And, he gets up, pretty quick for a guy that's not athletic. Like his second jump, he's right back on the play. So he's just a tough cover. And like, we tried everything from switching to putting myself, Kawhi on him to having Mace guard him. Like it was, we had no answer for him yesterday.
And also on the switches, he pulls your big man defensively up out of the paint. So when his guys are making cuts, he's gonna pickpocket you almost like a quarterback. I like to call Jokic not yet Tom Brady, but I like to call him Dan Marino. I mean, at some point when he wins a championship, I'm gonna start calling him Tom Brady. But matter of fact, I'm not even gonna call him Dan Marino. I'm gonna call him John Madden, because I'm telling you, when he pulls your big man out, he is going to start throwing passes and audibling, and he just looks like a quarterback. It's nasty.
The game, obviously Mason guarded him quite a bit, but at times Nico was on him. You guarded him. Kawhi guarded him. And so a lot of the strategy was around fronting, and that was something I noticed as well on those lob passes over the top. And you guys got a couple of them that were sort of underthrown, but the lob passes over the top, it with your guys' length, it seemed like you were going to get the basketball, and he's just able to sort of corral everything within his space. Dwight was way more athletic than him, but the player that I relate that to, because I played with Dwight, was just his ability to grab a basketball that was outside of everyone else's space. Like the normal amount of space that a player can cover and get a basketball, Dwight was as good as anyone is getting something outside his space, and Jokic does that. The other thing I loved at the end of the game, So obviously Murray has the basketball, and you guys put Kawhi on him. You were guarding Jamal, and they were running up another pick and roll. So a lot of times it was Eric Gordon's guy late game to get the first switch, and then they'd run the second pick and roll with Jokic to get Eric Gordon on him. And it's that like game of chess at the end of the game that I find so interesting. The manipulation of matchups, and everybody does it, but that's the part of the game to me right now that is like really exciting.
Yeah, I mean, because like you said, it's chess, and so like we were doing it on our end. We found like if Murray or KCP was going to guard me and Gordon was going to be on Kawhi, well then I'll set the screen, put Kawhi on the block with a smaller player on him, like KCP or Jamal Murray or Bruce Brown. Like we'll go at him that way as well. But it's just it's what the game turned into, especially with a bunch of guys or a bunch of teams that are going towards the switching lineups, because it's just so hard. Like it's hard to be in coverage with the way the game is played now and how well teams shoot. You try to keep out of rotations as much as possible, and so like what Coach Malone did over there was smart, trying to get EG into the action to free up because we know where the ball is going, we know what's going to happen, and he's so good in the middle of the floor. I think that's why it's so tough with Philly as well. You put Joel Embiid in the middle of the floor, and now you can't double, or you can't he could see all of that. What I mean?
When he's facing at the elbow or facing at the foul line, it's impossible to bring a double. Yeah,
no double. You can't double from right there, and so it's just you're at his mercy at that point.
Well, it is what it is. You heard it directly from Paul George. It'll be interesting to see how Tyronn Lue adjusts to this, because I mean it's a hell of a task. You can't leave Jokic in the middle, and the Nuggets obviously, because Jokic is out in the perimeter, they pull the big man out. And then Jokic off that pick and roll, man, he's just going John Madden. He knows how to look off defenders, and he makes a pass in a direction which you never expected. I mean, Denver had a couple years of this now, so guys pretty much know where they're going to be, where to make their cuts, and just Jokic is just basically playing John Madden. I mean, if he wins the NBA championship, I'm going to have to call him Tom Brady. I'm not even going to call him Joker. I'm going to call him Tom Brady. So we'll see how the Clippers make their adjustments. Tyronn Lue's a hell of a coach, but hopefully for them, hopefully they don't get them until the Western Conference Finals. I know they're praying on that. So we'll see how it plays out. NBA playoffs will definitely be interesting.